evening, one and all present here. It's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, my student and our alumnus 2011 passed out, and he's a book author, and by profession he is a SAP basis engineer, and currently he is in SAP as a SAP basis engineer, and now he has and I'm very proud to introduce him. And by today, he is going to talk this topic on um, how to find a job and survive the life. And I hope it will be very much helpful to our budding engineers. Okay, and I welcome all the participants, those who joined today, and our today's speaker, he has written 2 books, and I hope he will explain that. He will give an intro about his book and what are the activities he has done so far. And very happy to have you here, Chandan, and you can carry on.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Hello, everybody. Hope you are doing well. I'm Chandan Deshmukh. I'm a 30-year-old guy from Bengaluru. I'm a TEDx speaker, electronics communication engineer, working for ABB as an SAP basis consultant. I've authored 2 books with Penguin Publishers. And today, I'm really happy to be, talking before you all. And it seems just like yesterday that I was an engineering student sitting in place. So life comes a full circle now. I'm on the other side and facing you all. I'm feeling really proud to be on this side. And I would like to thank Dr. Bhuneshwari ma'am for arranging this session. There were 3 lecturers who had impacted me a lot. Bhuneshwari ma'am, Vijaya ma'am, and Shripati sir. And taking their blessings, I would like to start this session. So today's session would be about how to find a job and survive life. Yeah, and I understand that this has been a very challenging time for all of us. Considering the virus and the upcoming virus as well. Somebody has predicted one more thing coming in, so brace yourself, guys. And today I'll not be teaching you on how to attend the the GD round or the HR round. I think just like an well-oiled wheel, you are already aware of this by multiple sources on internet, as well as many training sessions in the college. So I'll not touch on that topic and bore you again. Yeah. So today will be a different kind of session, and let us unveil it in due course. Yeah. And just to give you a background about me, uh, during schooling I was a below average student, sitting on the 4th row against the wall. All my teachers used to call me butterfly because I used to sit in one place, but mind used to wander. All my friends were in the top ranks, 1 to 10. I was the odd man out, below average student. And one day it changed my life, which is the most horrible, horrendous, terrible, tremendous day in the life of a student. Few might tell me that it is the exam, but I differ. It is the parent-teacher meeting that is the most horrible, horrendous day, right? So even I had to face one during the school. I went to the parent-teacher meeting with my mom. I had a smile on my face because my father was busy that day; he couldn't come along. So once as soon as I entered the staff room, my class teacher had all the updated complaints about me, right from getting 5 out of 25 in social studies until pulling Tina's hairband in the class, making animal sound in the class. So and then my class teacher, she unveiled the marks card. It read C plus, as if adding one more plus would have made my future resume strong. And then the whole classroom, the whole staff room was silent, pin drop silent. I could hear the breeze. I lifted my head in confusion. My mom was crying. My only aim in life was to bring back the lost sheen on my mom's face and prove my teacher wrong. So that day, friends, I decided one thing. I had a new enemy, my class teacher. So my only aim was to bring back the lost sheen on my mom's face. And I understood that all my friends were in the top ranks and they were doing something which others weren't doing, right? So I started studying them more than the textbooks. I shadowed all of their activities, right from how they strategized until the way they chewed the back of pencil, and I unveiled most of their secrets. And then from being a below average student, I turned out to be an average student, and then just above average. Yeah. So and then I got into this engineering college, and then got the placement in L&T Infotech. So this is my background. And furthermore, I understood that there were many students who were facing the same issues which I did. Yeah. And that's where I felt that why couldn't we just pen that and maybe put it to the world. That's when I wrote the book titled Six Secrets Smart Students Don't Tell You. Let me change this slide. Yeah. So this is my first book, Six Secrets Smart Students Don't Tell You. And then uh, we went on to sell around 1 lakh copies of this book. I thought only my relatives and friends would buy it. Um, and when I met students, a lot of students, and spoke about these aspects, memory techniques, time management, goal setting, and so on and so forth, I understood that many of them were also facing turmoil in terms of choosing a job. Go to any function, there will be some uncle or auntie asking you, so beta, what do you want to do in future, right? So that is a question which most of us try to answer, but we don't know whether it is true or not, right? So that is where this second book came in, Seven Dream Jobs and How to Find Them. This launched in the month of February. So far we have sold around 1.2 lakh copies of these books, thanks to people like you. um, so enough, enough about me and the books. We'll just jump on to the aspects. So just to give you a brief view, the books were featured in all these media, Times of India until the radio stations. Now let's discuss two serious things today. Yeah, very serious. To understand this, you will need a doctorate in neuroscience. Yeah. So let's move on. So two very serious things today. One, signature in the air. Two, cupcakes. Yeah, very serious things. So let's jump on to the first one, signature in the air. And any questions, anybody so far? You can raise your hand so that I can answer them, or else in the chat you can mention the same. Yeah, I'm sorry, because of this situation, we'll have to take this virtual. Else, I would have, looked at you face to face and then answered your questions. Yeah. Moving on, signature in the air. Just have a look at this slide, guys. What do you think about this slide? Physicians are getting laid off. Government job, BSNL, government job, they're getting laid off. IT workers, needless to say, getting massive layoffs. I mean, these are news snippets from before the COVID, mind it. And now, because of this COVID virus, the situation seems to be worsened. The legal team, the lawyers, that they're getting laid off because of algorithms and automations. So many layoffs happening all around the country, right? So what do you think about this? What do you feel? I mean, it doesn't mean that everybody are being laid off, right? So there are few people who are still working in those organizations, uh, but there are selected few who were laid off and given the pink slip. That speaks volumes, right? I mean, that should give a message, a clear message that something is going wrong. Maybe, I mean, many people tell me that it's because of the automation. Might be. And few people tell me that, maybe he wasn't happy with the job. Yes, absolutely. So there are multiple reasons which give rise to these layoffs and the job cuts. Yeah, and even business the business of the particular organization can also matter on these terms. However, to generalize, most of the layoffs happen because that particular person was not fit for the job, or maybe he or she wasn't putting the best in that particular job. Yeah. So why does that happen? You know, for example, I have seen people in close quarters who were doing great in their academics, but still once they finish their engineering or their degree, once they get into the job, they seem to not do the job in an appropriate way, and in due course they kind of decline. Their graft seems to decline. Yeah. And when I researched a lot, there were few things, which were you know which were very much shocking. Yeah. So in the next few slides we'll talk about them. These are a couple of statistics which are mind boggling, guys. For 11 hours a day, going forward, after you finish your engineering, 11 hours a day for the rest of your life, you'll either be working or thinking about work, right? You'll be either traveling or, at the job, at your home, working with your laptop, or doing your work for the rest of your life for 11 hours a day. Now, imagine being stuck in the wrong job, right? So it's like a nightmare, guys. I have seen people very closely, who have had you know wrong phase of life and depression and a lot of issues financially as well as morally when they were stuck in the wrong job. Yeah. And as per a survey, 80% of Indians hate their job. They hate their job, right? So I wish everybody of you, whoever have joined this session, are part of the 20%, remaining 20%. Yeah. So why is this happening? This doesn't seem right. It's not a complete circuit, right? Because things are not in the right place. 80% Indians hate their job, but still we somehow do it. Why are we doing it, right? So I agree, because of the financial aspect, we get a salary and so on and so forth. But there are many other aspects to it, and maybe we can choose a job which we like, uh, and still earn money, right? Let's see in the coming upcoming slides. So there is a simple exercise. Yeah, raise your hand. Writing hand, maybe your right hand or your left hand, whichever is your dominant hand. Raise your hand and just draw a signature in the air. Come on, go ahead. Nobody is looking at you. Just raise your hand and draw a signature in the air. Yeah. Yeah. So just record this feeling which you have in your mind. Now raise your other hand. In case you used your right hand before, use your left hand now. Raise your other hand, your passive hand, and draw your signature in the air. So what did you observe? You know, with your dominant hand, the right hand, you were able to do it very smoothly, right? It was comfortable, and you were able to feel the letters, and it was easier, right? However, on the other side, with the passive hand, it was more of a firefight, and it was not very comfortable. It was, the signature wasn't perfect, and it was ambiguous, right? So what do we understand from this? So the aspect which we can take away from this exercise is that everybody has a sweet spot. Everybody has a sweet spot. So there are few activities which you have observed in the recent past, which is like just back of your hand, and you are able to do it very easily than others. You know, and which are not ambiguous in nature. However, there are few more things, few more subjects. For example, in your studies, there are few subjects which are very much difficult in nature for you in particular, and you would have to spend more time in doing that. It doesn't mean that you can't sign with your passive hand. You can, but every day would be difficult, right? So you'll have to toil on a daily basis, and in due course you'll burn out. Yeah. So similarly, uh, our career and life is not very much different from this scenario. There are few sweet spots in your life which you can utilize in order to build your career. Yeah. So just zero in on the aspects which you feel very much familiar and easier to do with. Example, you might feel that one of the programming language is easier for you, or else logic design for easier for you was easier for you, or else the VHDL, or the VLSI, the front end stick diagram was easier for you. Just zero in on the aspects which you felt was easier to do than your peers. Yeah. Zero in on them. Consider choosing those aspects as your career. Yeah. And it doesn't matter that you get selected in the job, in the off campus or the in campus job selection, yes or no, but still you can go ahead and hone your skills in those you know lines of studies, and then go ahead and do a job in those aspects. In the long run, you will be beneficial, guys. It's been 8 to 9 years since I graduated, and believe me, guys, in my class, not everybody were startlets. Yeah, and me myself, I was not a throughout FCD student. Yeah, so there were many people who had flunked, many people who had back subjects for longer period of time, and still, if I look back now, if I talk to them now, they're settled, they're well settled in their life. So it doesn't mean that you'll have to get right in the first go. Yeah. It doesn't mean that if you are selected in the campus selection or off campus in the first go on your seventh or eighth semester, only then you will succeed in life. Not at all. It doesn't matter. There are few guys whom I know who are not doing really well in engineering final year, but still they're earning very hefty salary. Yeah. So I would suggest you to find your sweet spot. It doesn't matter if you don't understand any of the other slides, but here is the takeaway which I want to take back home. Please find your sweet spot. That's the message here. Yeah. Let's move ahead. Have you been to an ice cream shop? Of course you would have. Yeah. There are, for example, Baskin Robbins, they have 31 flavors. Similarly, you all are different. You might be studying in the same class and same set of subjects. However, your upbringings are different. Your experiences are different. Your likings are different. So it doesn't mean that if your friend is going for MBA, it doesn't mean that even you have to jump in for an MBA, right? So because their experiences and expectations are different, completely different. So I request you to not ask anybody what to do. Just take a piece of paper, take some time off, maybe a day or two, and strategize about your life, what you want. you know uh, because every job or every career will have its own ups and downs. There is no job which is perfect, and there is no job which will be very much, will make you very much happy throughout your lifespan. Yeah, there will be ups and downs, there will be bad days, there will be good days. So I request you to go back to the drawing board and strategize based on your life experience, your likings, and then decide on what you want to do. Yeah. And in the Paleolithic age, there were only two jobs, guys. during Paleolithic age, thousands of years ago. Hunter, gatherer. Only two jobs. Yeah. And coming to the 1900s and 1950s, there were quite a few jobs like being a farmer, or else, a teacher, or mining, uh, so on and so forth. Yeah. However, now in the 21st century, guys, people are creating jobs. People are creating jobs. If anybody told you in 1950s that you can make a living just by speaking, people would have had a belly burst laughter, right? But now people are having a career made out of podcasts, gaming, hydroponic agriculture, blogging, vlogging, YouTubing, whatnot. People are creating jobs, guys, right? So it doesn't matter, and please don't pigeonhole yourself into this job, that job. Don't pigeonhole yourself until and unless you find it out yourself. Yeah, please look into yourself, take some time out, just for example, if you want to purchase a mobile, yeah, which costs around 15,000, you will do a huge research, don't you? You'll go to Flipkart, Amazon, many other websites, yeah, and then you look for reviews on YouTube, unboxing videos. For sure you would have looked into 3 to 4 unboxing videos and looked at the reviews, right? Absolutely. And it's not wrong, it's absolutely right. Similarly, if you're doing so much of research just for your mobile, which lasts for an year or two, doesn't it make sense to do some research on what job you require or what job you are suitable for? And if you're an engineer, you know is it written in the constitution of India that you have to get into software engineering? Not at all. Please broaden your horizons and look outside your window. There are thousands of jobs out there which can utilize your skill sets, and in which you can explore a lot. Yeah. And as I said, people are creating jobs, you can create one as well. Yeah. So let's move ahead. So these are the three ways to find your dream job, guys. Please look at this slide effectively. And first way to find your dream job is finding your sweet spot. And some people ask me how to find my sweet spot. I don't know, should I go to a Kanti sweet store to get my sweet spot? Not at all. So there is a technique to find your sweet spot. It is called as MBTI, Myers-Briggs theory. As per Myers-Briggs theory, there are 16 kind of personalities, yeah, in the world. I mean, everybody are unique in the world, but still there are few traits, there are few aspects which are common across these people. Yeah. So they have made a bucket, I mean 16 buckets. So you will fall under different bucket, your friend might fall under a different bucket altogether. So find your your character. What kind of a person are you based on those 16 you know characters, based on the Myers-Briggs theory. So for every of the you know character, there will be a different set of dream jobs. Example, I have seen a guy who is an extrovert in my office. He used to sit beside me. Yeah. So uh, I have seen him since my childhood, and fortunately, he was my office mate as well, colleague as well. And he is an extrovert. Yeah, extrovert as in he can't, he likes to socialize with people, and he was an extreme extrovert, guys. He couldn't sit at one place. He wanted to move around, talk to people, shake hands. I mean, not now because of COVID. Jokes apart. So he was an extreme extrovert guy, and it was a firefight for him on a daily basis to sit at one place and do some coding and work on the SAP aspects. It was a firefight for him, guys. I've seen him firsthand. So no prizes for guessing. He couldn't stay for long. He quit his job, and he's now into radio jockeying. So what I'm trying to say is you'll have to find your sweet spot and your character, and then choose a job based on that liking and your compatibility with it. Else you'll have a turmoiling time on a daily basis, guys. Yeah. So during my final year of engineering, I went through this MBTI test, and I have explained it in my second book, Seven Dream Jobs and how to find them. So just go ahead, and the books are cheaper than a McDonald meal. So go ahead, read the book, and you'll find your sweet spot. Yeah. So so that was about the first point. Let's move on. The second point, the third way to find your dream job: childhood experience and culture. Uh, Guys, during my schooling, I had a neighbor. She was just like me, below average student. Yeah. However, one day something changed. Her grandmother expired because of cancer, ovarian cancer, and it was pitiful. And she was very much attached to her grandmother. Because of that, she took an oath saying that I will not allow others, to suffer like me, you know, to suffer like me and my grandmother. And then she took an oath saying that she'll become an oncologist. And guess what? She studied well. She did her, MBBS, and now she's an oncologist. So few things, even though it is out of your MBTI, few things like your childhood experiences, which are very close to your heart, which which channelizes your energy altogether, those can define what your job is all about. Yeah. So childhood experience is one of the aspects, and then again culture. I know a guy who did his engineering, and after that he went back to Orissa because his family members, they are into Purohit. They're into Purohit ke in Kannada, which we say. So he went back to Orissa, the temple, and he resumed his career as a Purohit. So your culture and childhood experiences define yourself. Yeah. And it defines the way you bridge and mold your career in itself. So that was the second way to find your dream job. And the third way is finding a side hustle. What is a side hustle? Side hustle is nothing but uh, a hobby which you take it a bit seriously, uh, and which goes side by side with your career. Yeah. So example, I'm a software engineer. I'm into SAP basis in ABB, and writing books is my side hustle. Yeah. So one day it might become my full-time career as well. I don't know. I mean, right? So but I'm enjoying my writing. So that's how you find your dream job, having a side hustle. And side hustle, just to give a brief overview, um, please guys, everybody, all the students who are part of this session, please have a Sunday project. On a daily basis, you'll have chores to do, right? From Monday to Saturday, you have your own chores. Being a student, doing all the home chores, so on and so forth. However, on a Sunday, please take out 2 to 3 hours of your time and work on some hobby of yours. It can be singing, it can be dancing, guitar, writing, blogging, or agriculture, anything. Please take out 3 hours of your time on every Sunday. And then once you get your hobby intriguing, maybe you can take half an hour on a daily basis to hone your skills and then make it big. Yeah. Because having a side hustle really helps. And not only one source, if you have multiple source of income, even in the financial point of view, if you see, if you have multiple source of income, it will help you gain a lot of confidence, guys. Yeah. So please have a side hustle along with one. I mean, you can choose any of these three ways to find your dream job, but the third one is mandatory. Please have a side hustle, and it takes you a long way, believe me. I've been there, done that. It takes you a long way. Yeah. So these are the three ways to find your dream jobs. And any questions still now, guys? Any questions, please raise your hand. I don't know how to find, if you, in case you have questions. Let me see the chat. Mm, okay, maybe we'll take the questions now. One is Santosh has sent a smiley. Hi Santosh, thank you. Vani Badagir, hi Chandan, happy to see you, all the best for your future. From Vani, hello Vani ma'am, thank you for being here. Thank you for that. Santosh again. So did the college you studied engineering provide placement training? Uh, I studied in RRC, the same college where you're studying now. Yeah. So yes, they provided placement trainings. They have been doing that since time memorial. I am from the second batch, so yes, they have been doing this. And believe me, once you look back, you will feel very proud that you studied in this engineering college. Yeah. And you'll feel happy. And whenever you pass the Mysore road, whenever you take the Bangalore Mysore highway, when you're taking your family to the Mysore, to look at the I mean, for the sightseeing at Mysore, you will definitely have ear to ear smile, guys. Whenever you look at the right side of your window in your car with your family, you'll have ear to ear smile looking at your college for sure, believe me. Yeah. Great, then thank you. So these were the chats until now. If you have any questions, please shoot. Don't fret. Put it in the chat. And thank you, Vani ma'am, for the wonderful chat. Thank you for that. So moving ahead, the second point on the cupcakes. Yeah. Say hi to Prakash, guys. Prakash is part of the Generation Y. He was born between 85 until early 2000s. And you're part of the Generation Y, guys. And I believe most of you will be late 90s and early 2000s. So I think you're part of this. So this generation is the self-important generation, guys, that feel they're the main character of a very special story, right? I'm sure you can link to this, and subconsciously you're right. Yeah. So, but Prakash is unhappy. Let's see why. So let us bring his parents, Anil and Malti, into discussion. Yeah. And guys, about the jobs we have already discussed, and this is about our life in itself. Yeah. So just look at this at a light-hearted viewpoint. So Anil and Malti, Prakash's parents, they were born in the 60s. Yeah, most of our parents born in the 60s, raised by Prakash's grandparents, grew up during the freedom struggle, guys. Just imagine during the freedom struggle, if you had food in your stomach and if you had a ceiling on top of your head, you were a huge success. So sound finances and good health were treated as luxuries, right? So this was the expectation of Prakash's parents, Anil and Malti. So they grew a graph, guys. They grew a graph. So they felt that, okay, I have completed my graduation, and after some years, maybe 15 to 30 years of hard work, I'll have a better life. I'll maybe at the age of 45, I'll 45 to 60, I'll build a house, have a car, and have a happy family. This was the expectation of Prakash parents, because they grew up during the freedom struggle, guys. So they knew what difficult times is all about. Yeah. So their expectation was like this. So this is the graph: success versus hard work in years. With time, you get a stable life. Maybe by 60 years, I'll have a stable life. This was the expectation graph. However, this is the reality of Prakash parents. Because of the independence, and also there was a boom during the 70s and 80s, and financial GDP. I mean, our GDP also saw some bright light. So because of that, the reality was much better than their expectation. So they were able to meet their financial and moral goals in a shorter period of time than their expected graph. Yeah. by the age of maybe, after hard work of 20 years or 25 years, they were able to, build a house and, have a car, or else give kids good education. So they got a stable life within 20 years of hard work, 20 to 25 years of hard work. Yeah. So this is called as the wowness, the wow aspect, wow factor, right? So Prakash parents, they felt that, wow, the world is not a bad place altogether. Maybe uh, it's a very nice time to live in. Yeah. And with the same positive attitude, they brought up Prakash. They told Prakash, you're special. You need not worry. Please put some hard work. Yeah, there was some beatings and, fights. That is for sure. That is, every household story. But still, there was some kind of vibe which Anil and Malati gave to Prakash, the Gen Y guy, saying that Prakash, you're special. You can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you dream about. Yeah. So they gave him a lot of positivity. They said world is not a bad place. Do whatever you want. You're special. You're not like the neighbor guy, Yogesh. You're special, Prakash. So now Prakash, the generation Y person, now he draws the expectation graph, the success versus hard work. Yeah. And his expectation graph is all about cupcakes. He feels that, after 5 years of hard work, he should um, get an MBA from Harvard, and then come back to India, buy a Lamborghini, maybe contest for the elections and become prime minister one day, and then marry Aishwarya Rai's daughter, and so on and so forth. So it is a graph of cupcakes. That is what this guy has, uh, you know he has, he drew this expectation graph altogether. And by the end of 15 years, he wants to reach the cloud nine. He's the penultimate goal, which he has, drawn. So what I'm trying to say is this, Prakash parents, which they try to, uh, you know get access to, and, get success after 20 to 40 years of hard work. He is trying to get it within 5 to 10 years, right? Because he feels world is very positive, and he's the only guy who can, do well in life. He's the hero of his life, right? So this is the graph which Prakash has drawn. However, guys, in reality, what happens? He's going through the Facebook feed, and there are other guys and girls who are doing well than him. Example, Ahmed. He went to Statue of Liberty last year, and what a view. He has put a status on Facebook. What a view of Statue of Liberty. Take a bow. Taking a break from my studies. Has Prakash gone to Statue of Liberty? No. He's stuck in Rajarajeshwari Nagar. Now, another lady, Julia, she says, secured first rank in second semester exam was possible because of my parents and friends support. Thank you, guys. Now, this guy, Prakash, is he a first rank, second rank student? Did he get so? Not at all. He's a below average student, just like me. So, what I'm trying to say is, he is feeling really bad because he has been fed by many people saying that he is very special. Yeah. And it is not moving the way he expected, because others are doing well. Others are doing really well. And a lot of envy and disappointment, because sometimes in the social media as well, people bloat things up. Yeah. And sometimes we try to project things, others try to project things which they are not, right? So do they do they put on Facebook about their agony, about their disappointments? Not at all. They only put their success stories, most of them, right? So that goes to say that whenever wake up in the morning, you just go through the Facebook feed, you feel that all the others are doing well, you're not doing well. Yeah. So that brings in a lot of envy and disappointment, which eventually gets into big words, disappointment, I mean the depression and other aspects. So I request you to not see the crafted image which your friends, your peers, or anybody else puts on the social media or in real life. Yeah. So please look at their real image and also look at yourself. Please compare yourself with yourself, not with others. Everybody has their own different upbringing, different life experiences, different future in itself. So I request you to look within yourself and compare with yourself day by day and not with others. Yeah. So don't be like Prakash. Don't be like Prakash. Don't compare apple to oranges. You are your own competitor, guys. So even after you finish your engineering, don't compare yourself with to others. Okay, this guy got a 8 lakh package, this guy got 6 lakh package, I don't have a job at all. So don't compare yourself to that. Yeah, because everybody has their own time zone. Everybody has their own time zone. If you observe Donald Trump, he's in the late 70s and 80s, and now he's the prime minister, right? Sorry, the president. So similarly, Barack Obama, he was not so old enough to become the president of this, right? So everybody has their own time zone. Everybody has their own time zone. So please compare yourself on a daily basis, not with others. Yeah. So if you have any questions, please let me know, guys. And I'm reachable on chandandeshmukh.com and awkwardpage.com. If you have any questions, if you are if you don't want to ask here, not a problem. You can reach out to me on the social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even on my website. Yeah. So from QCOMBT, hi Chandana, good to see you here, good job, thank you, thanks a lot. Bhuvaneshwari ma'am, if you have any questions, yeah, please, thank you. Very well said, compare yourself not with a great, thank you ma'am, thank you for echoing the words. So again, I'm reachable on these websites. Please reach out to me in case you have any questions or any aspects to ask. Yeah. Uh, Now, I would like to end with a story. Long ago in South Africa, there was a balloon seller. Yeah, the balloon which flies, right? The inert gas, the helium neon balloons. So South Africa and the skin tone will be dark. So there was a kid, a dark kid. He went to the balloon seller. He said he was looking at the balloons, lot of balloons in the air. He saw, uncle, balloon seller uncle, uh, there are many balloons which you have red ones, the white ones, the black ones. Will the
And
black one also fly?
my
will
photo
the
is visible. My
will
photo
the
is visible.
will the black one also fly? That is what he asked. Yeah. So the balloon seller got the intent of the question. He understood that the answer which he would give matters a lot for the black kid. So he said, kid, come over here. It doesn't matter what color of the balloon is. All that matters is what is inside of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter what caste, creed, religion, upbringing, gender you belong to. All that matters is what is inside of you. Thank you. Thank you. Ma'am, if you're speaking, you're on mute. And guys, any questions, let me know. The chat is open.
Yes. Santosh.
Thank you, Shakti. Thank you, Yashaswini. Sure. So if you have further questions, as I said, you
Yeah.
can reach me on my website and on my social media handles. Yeah. And I could see Sripati sir as well online. Is that so, ma'am?
Hey, I'm
Oh, hello,
online
sir.
boss.
Online
Hello,
boss.
sir. Hello.
Hello.
Very
Hello.
good to
Hey,
see you,
Very,
sir.
hey.
very nice.
Thank you, sir. Sir,
Okay.
during the start of the session, I was speaking about you, sir. You, Bhuvaneshwari
Yeah,
ma'am, and
just
Vijay
that
ma'am.
time, because of signal, it was
Okay.
disconnected.
Okay,
Again, I
that's great.
connected.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir,
Before
for
it
being here.
started, I connected. Yeah. Very nice presentation. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Yes, Bhuvaneshwari ma'am, over to you. Thank you.
Yes, Chandan, very nice session, and hopefully our students got benefit out of this. And I would like to call our Madam Deepika to give a vote of thanks. We'll finish it off.
Sure, sure, ma'am.
Okay. Over to Deepika, Madam.
Respected HOD sir, Bona ma'am, and all the faculty members of EC department, and our most distinguished alumni and today's speaker, Mr. Chandan Deshmukh. So I deem it a great honor to propose the vote of thanks to all who have helped me in making this webinar a grand and resounding success. So first of all, I would like to propose hearty vote of thanks to our speaker, Mr. Chandan Deshmukh, for gracing today's webinar. So, sir, it was a very wonderful session. So you have shared so many experience, and it is really helping our students also to get motivated on this speech. So surely it will help them to find their job and to survive in their life. So it was a really very wonderful session. So we are feeling very proud that our alumni has reached this much level to guide our students also. So it's a proud moment for us and also to our college. So thank you so much, sir. So it was very interesting and thought-provoking address. I would like to thank the coordinators and staff members for making this webinar a great success. So finally, wonderful students. So those people only have made this webinar a great success because they have turned up in very good numbers and they have extended the support during this time also. So thank you one and all for making this event a grand and memorable one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deepika ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you,
Bhuvaneshwari ma'am.
Deepika
Thank you
ma'am.
for
Thank you,
arranging this.
Chandan. And in future, we expect you at RRC campus.
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sripati sir.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you, everybody, for your time.
Chandan, thank
Thanks.
you.
I thank
All the
all
best.
the participants and our CTDS team for arranging this. And this Zoom meeting and all, they have helped a lot. Thank you, Daphne ma'am and Kavita ma'am, for arranging this. Thank you. Thank you one and all.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank
most
you.
welcome, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
And participants, that feedback link will be given to you, and you just fill it and send. You'll get the e-certificate. Okay. Thank you.